Hey y'all, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Felicia and I'm just coming on really quickly to give you an update on my temperature blanket. Now I haven't been working it very long, but I have come up with some things that I think it's worth mentioning just in case you haven't started yet or you want to start, or if you're looking at this video later for a blanket that you may do in the future. Okay, so first thing first, nothing major, but just something worth mentioning is when you print out your template, you want to make sure that you print it out on cardstock or at least glue your copy paper to something harder. I noticed just within the first week or so of me working that paper becomes very flimsy and it just starts to look a little bit more tattered. So backing it with something to make it a little bit more harder, or even putting it on a cardboard or something like that, that's worth doing. Okay, another thing that's worth mentioning is in my first video I did not say if I was going to do the highs or the lows. And matter of fact, I didn't know which one to use. I started off doing the highs, and after about 4 or 5 days of completing the blanket, I realized that I'm probably not going to get to use all of the colors from my color chart, because where I am here in Florida, it just doesn't get, the highs never take you to a low temperature. So my highs here would probably stay, you know, no more than maybe 65 would be considered a low high, if that makes sense the way I'm saying it. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll just do the lows, but then I realized that my lows would never take me beyond, you know, 50 or 60. So I would lose colors on both sides of the spectrum. So what I decided to do was go ahead and put an average in. So essentially what I'm doing now, and you won't see that reflected in my blanket because again, I did 4 days before I really decided how I wanted to play this. So for instance, if I'm looking at my AccuTemperature, I would look at my high being 71, my low being 60, right? I would add those two together and then divide by 2 to come up with my average of 66 degrees. So then I would use my color chart here and determine what yarn I would use for 66 degrees. So initially I was doing 71 degrees and then I realized that wasn't a good idea. I didn't want to do the lows, so I went with the average. Okay. Another thing that I had to keep in mind too was, am I ever going to get below 30 with this average thing? Last year we had an Arctic blast in my area. I think everybody probably did. And we ended up with some really cold nights. I mean, in the teens. I lost my lemon trees and some other things, but really cold nights. But even with me looking at that and taking the high for the day, it still doesn't average to below 30. So what I'm gonna do, instead of using below 30, I've decided that I'm gonna make my last one a month divider. I don't know if you can see that, if it ever will focus. So this last color right here is now going to be my month dividers. So when I finish January, I'll do this blue color to lead me into February. When I finish February, I'll do this blue color to lead me into March, so forth and so on. I like that idea because then I will have a consistent carry through my blanket that might tie everything together. But that's just how I decided to do it. I may not ever get 90 and above, but that is a higher probability for my area than getting 30 or below. Okay, so that's 3 things I think I've mentioned. Think about how you line up your yarn. So I use my little color scope tool, making sure that I'm using yarn in my stash, but I wanted to make sure that they blended too. The color scope did that. What the color scope tool doesn't do is it doesn't know how they're going to lay together in the blanket. And that's what really makes the temperature blanket unique, because you're putting it up to chance on how the colors are going to stack. So guys, it's going to be really important that you pick colors that you like. Yes, it's fun to just, you know, put it here and say, this is what I want. But in my case, currently, the 2 temperatures that I'm using the most are this frosty green color and this camel color. I don't think I would have put those 2 colors together naturally. Like, I don't think I would create a project saying, ooh, these 2 colors go great together. You can't determine what the temperature is going to be, but maybe when I laid this out, maybe I would have put, I don't know. I don't know. I might not have even used camel. I don't know. but I'm gonna trust the process and I'm gonna let it just fold out however it will. But guys, keep in mind, you're making a really long, wide blanket and you're putting a lot of time in it, a lot of energy is going into this, and also a lot of money unless you got a yarn sponsor. Even with me having yarn on hand, this to me is a perfect project for you to grab those value yarns, those pound of love yarns, the ones that you can get on sale using your coupon code or whatever, because I'm thinking that this blanket is going to be anywhere between 25 and 30 skeins of yarn. And even if I can get that at, you know, you do the math. I mean, it can be very costly. And so you want to make sure your colors play nicely together. So take the time to do that. That's the main reason I didn't go with a rainbow color blanket, because rainbow doesn't match my schematics of my home, and I knew I was going to want to put this blanket on display. So that's why I went with more neutral tones. Even with that though, I'll show you. I don't like the way they're playing together right now. But again, I'm going to trust the process. I do believe that it's going to come together. Fingers crossed. But so this is what it's looking like. Do you see this? I don't know if the color is picking up on the camera, but this is green and that's camel brown. And I know I would not have put those together in my mind, but I'm trusting the temperature blanket, and I'm thinking that once this color maybe plays more, then this will be, I don't know guys. Just keep that in mind though, okay? So that's pretty much it. Those are the long and the short. I wanted to do an update. I'm just looking over here to see if there's anything else I forgot. If you can find the yarn on sale and you know it's a prominent temperature for your area, like I know for a fact 70 is going to hold true here as an average. 60 is probably going to be a good average temperature. Whereas I know 90 might not be a good average temperature. So I can probably not have as much yarn for the 90 range. But just for instance, this is what I have left of that camel color. And I've done, let's see, 5 rows. And this is what I have left. And I know because camel in my case is between 51 and 60 degrees as an average, that I'm probably going to use this again come September and October, because right now I'm doing January. You guys remember I'm behind. So January, February, I know I'm going to pull this through. I'm probably going to pull it out again in late December. I want to keep that in mind. So when I see this particular yarn on sale, I'm going to grab, and I've already done that, but for you, you want to make sure you grab the yarn that's on while it's on sale for the temperature range that you know is going to work a lot in your area. All right. I hope that helps somebody. I'll put a picture at the end of me holding the blanket, and as you can see, it's really wide. It already reaches across. I know it's going to fit more like a topper on my king size bed, because it does leave about 1 inch on each side, but the heavier it gets, I'm sure the more weightier it will become, but it will fit a king size bed. So that's something, again, you want to keep that in mind. What's your goal in terms of size? Okay. All right, I think that's it. I'll see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.